So it's the next morning, and you can kind of hear Bob out in the main area of the bar getting the day ready for, or getting the venue ready for the day. So it's on you, gentlemen, as you arise to the next day. If there's anything you would like to do.
I would love a cup of coffee.
Do you hear any music, gentlemen?
Yeah. I hear, well, not music, but I hear ambience, whatever you call it.
Okay, yeah.
It is windy.
Well, it's Mountainside Inn.
Somebody need to close the window.
Man, is it chilly in here.
Bob the bartender sees you come up. Aye, laddie. It's a bit cold to be mucking the stables, but why don't you have a cup of coffee?
Right. I'm alerted by the sound of the fire and the smell of something unfamiliar and think that the place is on fire and burning down, so I rush out of my room, forgetting to put my pants on, and I stand there with one hand on my dagger, alerted to what's going on.
Alright, so let me get this straight. You come running out of the room without any pants on, and your hands on your dagger, quote unquote?
Oh, yeah. No, well, I had my dagger in hand. I grabbed my dagger and ran out of the room and forgot my pants.
Whoa, Elf, what are you doing?
He's talking to you. Are you so stunned? Bob the bartender sees you standing there in your pants and says, "Hey there, Elf. Why don't you go put on some pants? Everything's all right. Go get yourself together and then come on out for a little breakfast. Thank you as a thank you for helping me defend my place last night."
All right. After looking around and seeing it's just a fireplace making that noise, and that Zeke has a cup of that horrible smell in his hand, he runs back to his room, realizing he's naked, and grabs his pants.
Okay.
That was interesting.
Bob the bartender just shakes his head, mumbles something about crazy elves, and goes back about the business of getting ready for the day. I'd like to take this opportunity to point out that all three of you have some type of indicator on your body right now. Dave, you might notice if you zoom in on yourself, you'll see that you have a sore back icon, and next to it is an indication of how sore it is, and it's yellow.
Okay, yeah.
All right, you'll notice that Bob the bartender also has the same feel. All right, and what that is when you jumped over the table and when he leapt over the bar and both of you slipped and fell and landed on your ass, well, it hurt a bit. So it's a little annoying pain. It's a numb pain, but it's not something that should affect your ability to perform any tasks.
How do you zoom in?
On the right-hand side of the screen, you should see a small inset toolbar.
I got it.
Yep. All right, so that's what your ass is a little sore, Dave, and Bob the bartender's a little sore. Now Merrick has an orange dot. His is a little bit more severe. He has we'll say it's a numbing pain in his head, and his right shoulder is somewhat is feeling a little sore. That's because he lifted up a table and it landed on him.
That would be pretty rough.
But that too shouldn't impact you as yet on your ability to perform any particular tasks. But it's a little sore.
All right, I dig around in my pockets, searching for any coins or change to pay for something to eat here, and realizing that I have none, I start to head towards the door.
Oh, be careful going that way, Bob tells you. Careful, Elf. I still haven't cleaned up that spill from the incident last night when I smashed into my keg. Those goblins, they can be really rough sometimes. I tell you, I'd pay a pretty penny if somebody were to go out there and take care of them once and for all.
Oh.
Professional plot
Well,
book.
Bob, if that's the case, if we could trade mucking out the stables for half price on killing those goblins, I'll take you up on that.
Well, Bob seems a little confused by what you mean. Half price on killing the goblins. But
well, whatever your willing price was, that seems how I already owe you one task. I could kill the goblins, but for half of what you were willing to pay.
Well, Bob's he's an old warrior, but he's not a foolish warrior, so he knows the math on it. He tells you, hey, you know, I make a few silver every now and again, and those guys cost me a few silver now and again. So if you would be willing to head out and follow that one we chased off back to his lair and get rid of him once and for all, then he'd be happy to share a couple copper and maybe a silver or two with you. Keep in mind, Bob the bartender is working at the Mountainside Inn, is in between these two very small village towns that trade back and forth. There's very little commerce here. So he doesn't have very much to give. He looks at you, Elf. He goes, "Are you willing to help him in this task?"
And I look at Bob a little bit confused. Not really, my basic not being very well or very good. Kind of having an idea of what you're saying, but at the same time, I notice what looks like it may be a purse hanging from your waist, and take special attention to that as I pass by.
All right. Well, as you know, it's early in the morning, and Bob is just a simple bartender. So all he's really wearing is a dirty shirt and an apron, and some loincloth, and what you thought to be a coin purse is really just his scrotum hanging out of the side of his loincloth.
Oh, I won't be lifting that.
Well, maybe you will, apparently.
Taking advantage of the opportunity, I attempt to engage Bob further in the conversation, agreeing on helping out with the elves, but at the same time, reaching out and trying to take hold of the coin purse.
All right, very well. As you wish.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Backing off.
All right, now, I'm not going to tell you what number you have to beat in order to successfully steal his quote-unquote coin purse without him knowing, but I will tell you that your pickpocket ability is currently 0.
Well, I can't win anyway. It's not a coin purse. It's a scrotum.
All right, but you're committed to this, even though you can clearly tell that it's a hairy coin purse.
Oh, I can tell it's a scrotum. Okay, you said it was a scrotum. I wasn't sure of what I saw there.
Well, yes, you definitely can tell it's his scrotum.
All right, then I have to back off of that then.
I think so.
He's not trying to grab his scrotum.
Very well. Well, Bob continues to listen to you tell the story, and he tells you, yeah, if you're willing to do that, I'm willing to spare you some couple copper and maybe a silver or two. And it shouldn't be too hard to find. I know that they're real close by. Whenever they go running off, whenever I scare them off, they always run back out to the west. And since we injured that one, maybe a fine woodsman elf or a fine elfsman like you would be able to track him, or perhaps you bold mercenary, will be able to track him. Undoubtedly, he's covered in wine from our mead that sprayed all over him from the battle when I accidentally hit that keg over there and it got on all of us. And he's also bleeding, so we should be able to follow him pretty closely. But in the general direction to the west.
Your goblin issues, the bartender. I will bring him back, dead or alive.
Bob says, "Good luck." And he turns to Merrick and says, "I don't think that young man realizes I need you to take care of them permanently."
Yeah, I kind of smirk watching the fat buffoon of a warrior who thinks he can track better than he can. Seeing as I'm a ranger, I know that I can probably do a better job, but I let him go off and I follow up behind him anyway and let him take the lead on this.
Okay. You two gentlemen leave the facility.
And fade to black.
And fade to black. You can tell immediately to the west there's some leaves and twigs pushed aside and broken from branches as a makeshift path is somewhat developed heading off to the west. Who wants to begin tracking?
Following the broken branches and noticing a piece of cloth that is caught on the side of the bark of an old tree, resembling the same cloth that the trolls were wearing. I decided, I agree with Zeke that yeah, west is possibly the direction that they may have gone.
What have you found, Dro?
I point to the tree bearing the cloth attached to the bark.
This seems promising. What direction do you think they've gone? West?
I slap myself on the forehead and look at Zeke stupidly like, isn't that the direction we're going?
I'm glad to see you guys are getting along
yes.
so swimmingly. Well, let me go ahead and set you up. Boom, against all odds, you two managed to find your way along a path. And the amount of time it takes you, roughly an hour. Say you could probably get back in half an hour now that you know the path, but with all the miscellaneous trackings and losing sight from time to time, it takes you about an hour to get to where you need to be.
Yeah, I see it loaded. It's just not loaded on my screen yet, though.
All right, I'll give it a second then. When it loads, Dave and Mansell, you should be in the trees, and you might see a sharp fog of war down towards the bottom. We'll deal with that in a moment.
Wait, time out.
Timing out.
Is Mensa watching your Twitch?
Yeah, I have his Twitch on my other screen.
Yeah, but you're not looking at it, are you guys?
Yeah, I'm looking at what's on your Twitch.
Don't look at my Twitch. Look at your screen.
Yeah.
No, I am, but I'm saying it's just not loaded yet on my screen. I'm waiting for it to load on my screen.
Okay.
I mean, by looking at his Twitch, you're seeing stuff we're not supposed to see.
Oh, okay. All right. Oh, okay. So we haven't gotten that far then.
Correct.
Okay. So yeah, I see what I guess I'm supposed to see. We're in the trees right now. Okay. I'll close the Twitch then.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Dave.
Want to add to the realism. All right, time back in.
Time back in. Game on.
All right.
All right. Whether you like it or not, the two of you have bonded and made a friendship over the course of this 1 hour. But that's not to say that from time to time you wouldn't look over your back to make sure he's not trying to stab you, Zeeg. Or also you, Merrick.
I'm mostly just following the Draug. I realize he's way better at this tracking thing.
There you go.
All right. I can smell the filthy creatures now as we close upon what must be the encampment. I know that we're near to them somehow because I'm seeing more and more of their tracks in the mud, and also the tracks of the critters that they ride on, as well as markings of where they poop in the grass.
Well, that's the thing. They're not really poop in the grass kind of people. As you approach what must be the den,
I'm feeling a little bit tepid, and I'm checking behind us as we get closer.
very well. Whoa, whoa, whoa!
Did I go too far?
It's up to me. It's up to you. Is that where you want to go?
I saw you made an arrow there, so I thought maybe.
Oh, sorry. I was measuring. I just like approximately 40 feet away. You can see the entrance of what is most likely the goblin lair. You can tell this because at the entrance of the lair is a bunch of feces and miscellaneous garbage that has been expelled from the cave. They are not the most civilized of creatures, so they haven't developed, obviously, a cistern type or outhouse. They just go out and as far away or as close as they need to be in order to relieve themselves and then go back into their caves.
Okay, at that point, I pointed to the cave, alerting Z, and raising a hand from the hold fast for a moment, so that he can see that that's the goblin's hold up ahead, and gesturing to him that we devise some sort of an attack plan.
All right, so you're doing this all in pantomime?
Yeah, kind of, because he doesn't talk much. Like I said, it's basic. His common isn't very good. He kind of understands some common, but he's not very good at it. He's still learning.
All right. Dave, why don't you give me a wisdom check for your character, Zeeg?
Which dice?
D20. You need to get a 10 or better. You receive a 15. You're doing just fine. You can kind of tell that he wants you to stay quiet and check back because we're near where he believes since you've been following him as the primary tracker, he's near where you believe these goblins to be.
Aye.
All right. So you guys are there. You're right next to where the goblins are, you believe. And are you developing a plan of attack over there, whispering quietly what things you might want to do? You can tell that if you look a little bit further to the south.
Trope.
Why aren't I? Oh, sorry. Let me get this thing on here. Bing! You can see the blood that he was losing as he went back into the cave, so you know that this is where you need to be.
Joe, I see the blood from the goblin that escaped us. Do you have a plan before we head in there? Or do we just charge in and kill them all?
I look at you, and I point for you to move in to attack, and
Charge.
I raise my bow and point it towards the objective.
Would you be so kind as to use your ruler ability? On the toolbar on your left, there's a ruler. Could you please show me what you're pointing at, Merrick?
Is that a ruler?
Probably. Fourth one down, fifth one down.
fourth one down. How does it work?
You click on the map and drag. Right on. So that's where you're pointing. You're covering that section. If something were to come out, you would have the ability to attack with an additional attack bonus because you're looking at that area specifically. And Zeeg.
I choose to move halfway in before stopping to take a look real quick.
I move forward to get a little closer, covering them. Whoops, wrong way.
You switch back to the arrow move selector. I see the Drow coming in behind me, so I'm gonna move to the entrance around the poo.
You're going to walk straight across the poo like that?
Around the poo.
Are you taking any efforts to hide your movement, or are you just going to... This poo pile is only about as tall as your knees.
No more than it takes to get around the poo and walk slowly, and I'm not running in.
Hold on, let me do some math. Math complete. Alright, Dave, I need you to roll a d20 for me. I will also be rolling a d20. I'm not going to tell you what it's for.
For the freaking goblin to be alerted that your ass is out there.
Alright. Well, Mansa knows what that roll might have been about. That would be a little bit of metagaming. Fortunately for you, Dave, nobody seems to see you.
Sorry.
It's all good. But you happen to see quite a bit. You can see about that far in. Mansa, I need you to accept that you cannot see this. All you see is what's at the front of the cave.
I can only see what I'm facing.
Drow, I see 3. Maybe I hear a 4th goblin and a fire.
Are you yelling to me 25 feet away and also in the direction of where they are?
Oh, no, I'm whispering.
Are you signaling me to do anything, or are you? Cause I don't know. I can only see you down there. If I see you moving close, I'll keep moving in to get closer to you.
Alright, I'll do a head movement. Moving closer.
Alright, I see the signal and I move myself forward to cover him closer.
I'll talk as loud in the mumble as my character is, trust me.